Hello everybody. I'm house sitting again like I was last year. You may recall if you've been watching my videos. And I'm house sitting again for the same friend that I did the favor for last year. He's got the same 2 dogs and so I take care of them while he's gone. So I sleep over here, which is okay during the weekend, but and during the week it's going to be hard because I leave for work so early, and then as soon as I get home, I have to come straight here, and the dogs are going to be home alone like 12 hours. But last year I wasn't working, so it was a little bit, or I wasn't working steadily. Maybe I was working. So anyway, but it's better than nothing, I suppose. But I feel bad for the dogs. But that's just Monday through Friday. Then the weekends I'm here more often. I don't stay here all day. I sleep over and then I come and go during the day. And he'll be back soon. He's gone he's gone 10 days, so it's 2 weekends. It's just 5 days and 1 day during the week. And then the 2 weekends. This is the first weekend and the next weekend. And I just love his Cocker Spaniel. He's got 2 dogs. One is, I don't know what the other one is, but the one is a Cocker Spaniel. He's just so sweet. They're both sweet dogs, but the Cocker Spaniel is just, I have to, I don't want to play favorites. I treat both dogs the same, but that Cocker Spaniel, he just wins you over. He's so cute. he's so dopey and sweet. Oh, anyway. He slobbers all over you. He's kind of slobbery. That's the thing. I love Cocker Spaniels, but it's a lot of dogs that are really sweet are so slobbery. My dog was not so sweet. My little dog that passed away. He wasn't so sweet with other people, but he was affectionate, but he wasn't slobbery. So I've become kind of unaccustomed to slobber, because I've had slobbery dogs in the past, but then I had this one dog all these years, and he hardly even ever panted because he was hardly ever hot. He was a hairless dog, and he was just very dignified and elegant, and he never slobbered. He was sort of like a cat, actually. Cats are affectionate, but they're dignified. They have dignity. Dogs, they just, they'll fall on their back and stick their feet up in the air so you rub their stomach. And cats will too, but I don't know. Anyway, if you like both, I love cats and dogs, and I love them equally. They each have their individual charm, but cats just have a little more dignity. I'm really kind of tired. I didn't do anything today. I mean, I've rested, but that's usually what I do on the weekend. I just kind of catch up on rest. With this job, I really like it, but it's really so, what's the word? It's just so busy, and it's the kind of job that you never run out of work. You never just have a moment of just, how sometimes you'll have jobs where there's a lull during the day and you might just kind of not be working. But this job is not like this job. Every second you're doing something, which is nice because the day goes by really quickly. But on the other hand, you really don't, you just, what's the word? Well, you don't sleep very much because even after the job, you get home, I have so much work all the time that I want to get to work early. And I've even considered starting to go in on weekends, but I don't want to get into the habit of not taking some time off. I mean, so and you can work from home, and my boss is an alcoholic. I meant to say she's a workaholic, so she's very driven. So that's admirable. But at the same time, it's kind of hard because you got to keep up. Which I do pretty well, but sometimes I even can't keep up. And I have a lot of experience, and I know I've bragged before about what a great secretary I am. But it's even hard for me to keep up with her. She's so energetic and nonstop. So, but I guess I'm doing all right, keeping up with her. Not keeping up, but I'm sort of going at her speed. And I should try not to yawn. People have been requesting a gum snapping video. And I might have mentioned I can't snap gum anymore. I was able to do it on one side of my mouth at one point after I'd had dental work on the other side, and now I had dental work a few months ago on the other side, so now I can't snap gum on any of my sides of my mouth. I can't snap gum on either side of my mouth. So I'm sorry to disappoint some of you, because I know you were hoping I would do another gum snapping video, but I could do a gum chewing video, but I just can't snap anymore. I tried and I practiced, and I have been able to get a few little pops out of the gum when it's kind of soft. I realize that soft gum that's the kind of sticky, excuse me, I just hiccuped, is snappier. I'm hiccuping because my friend has a star fruit tree, and it's got just dozens of star fruit, and there's so much, that if you don't eat it, it starts to rot. So I've been not wanting to let them go to waste. So I've just been eating. They're so delicious. Star fruit is so juicy. You just can eat it like a peach. I eat it like a peach. Maybe there's other ways to eat it. I just rinse it and eat it. Just eat it, bite it like an apple, eat the whole thing. And you bite into it, and it's juicier than a peach. It's not juice, it's like mainly water, but sweet. It tastes sweet, but nice. Sort of like a citric taste, sort of like an orangey taste. And it's really good. Down here in Florida, you could live off of the different seasons, because people have fruit trees in their yard, and they grow so easily. You can get, one part of the year there's papayas, and there's mangoes another time, and star fruit. There's people have orange trees, avocado trees, and they all grow, and they just, you just throw a seed in your backyard and it grows, because this is the environment for those kind of trees. Coconuts, I know how to peel a coconut and get at the inside. I was thinking of doing a coconut tutorial, because I've gotten really good at it. Like when I first moved to Florida, I was like hacking away at this coconut once. First time I tried it. And it's not just the scent, like when you go to the supermarket and buy coconuts, sometimes when they sell them up north, they sell you just the brown middle part. So you just got to crack that and eat. But, I'm talking the coconut with all the fiber on the outside. It's like the whole, So the first time you're just chopping away at that thing, and you can't figure out how can somebody actually eat one of these. But it's actually quite easy once you've learned how to do it. And the green ones, I like the green ones better than the ones that have dried out a little. And it's like you 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 peel off the fiber and you can poke a hole in it and just drink the juice, or then you could crack open the inside and get at the coconut. But so I am gonna do a coconut tutorial. So if anyone ever needs to survive down here, they don't have to learn the way I did. I mean, I was hacking, and there were pieces of fiber all over the place, and the thing was all mangled. And I finally figured, especially the green ones, it's easier. You really just have to slice the fibers off, and you slice and slice, and it's really thick until you finally get down to the brown seed that's in the middle, which is the part most of you are probably familiar with. And then you eat that part. And even the seed, if you don't know how to open it, it's quite easy. You just hack off the end. It's a hard thing, but it's just one whack, and it doesn't even have to be that hard. There's sort of like a weak part on the end. Anyway, I did it. Maybe there is already a coconut opening tutorial, but I never bothered to search for it on YouTube. Maybe there is already one, but I could do another one. And what other fruits are down here? Apples do not do well down here. I planted an apple tree in Washington, D.C. once by accident. I threw an apple core I'd eaten. I ate the apple. I threw the core into a potted plant, and the tree started growing. And then after a while, it got bigger and bigger, and I started getting into it. I got excited about it because it was growing. I put it into a bigger pot, and eventually my parents planted it in their house, which they sold after that. So my tree, I wonder if it's even still there. Maybe the new owners chopped it down or something. But it actually grew into a real tree. But it gave crab apples, Usually those apples, the apple you eat at the supermarket is pretty, but usually the seeds are not, they're hybrid apples. The fruit we eat is mostly hybrid. They're genetically mutated. Genetic engineering is not something new. People have been doing it. I mean, it's become more of a business now, but usually the fruits we eat are not natural fruits. They're usually either crossbred or so they look pretty. But so that's why when you eat an apple, it looks really beautiful. You figure, I'll plant the seeds, I'll get the same apples, but you don't. You get the natural apple. Fruit, when we were all cavemen or whatever, back before we were civilized, the fruits weren't all that beautiful, but they taste good, but they weren't pretty. You didn't need to market fruit like you do now, because now it's become a business. At some point, when we converted from a hunter-gatherer society to an agricultural, where we would sit still and grow our food and keep our animals penned up and all that. I mean, at some point it occurred to some caveman to quit wandering around for food and why don't we just pen these animals in, and why don't we plant these things? I mean, it's common sense. I think if I were a cave woman, it would have occurred to me at one point, hey, why am I walking miles every day to get food when I could just, Well, you'd have to realize that, you'd probably figure out that the apples grow I'm focused on apples, but on whatever fruit, you probably figured, at some point you're going to notice that, oh, hey, I dropped an orange seed over there the other, I was eating it, or I don't know, whatever fruit you were eating. It depends where you lived, I guess. But, it obviously eventually dawned on us that, well, look, when we eat something and throw the seeds out, that they start growing, And so eventually someone figured out that, we don't have to find food. We could just keep it right near us. And that's when we started, becoming more sedentary. And there are still some very, very primitive tribes in the world that still live like the cavemen used to live. Just hunting and gathering and things. They don't grow their own food, but there was an undiscovered tribe in the Amazon they found recently that had never seen other human beings except their own little tribe. And they were throwing these arrows at the helicopter. I'm not making fun of them. I mean, obviously, just imagine you'd never seen another human being your whole, except for your tribe, your tribal, mates. And suddenly this huge helicopter from out of nowhere appears. I mean, it's got to be scary. I'd be throwing my arrows at it too. But I should put a link downstairs, and I mean, there's got to be a picture somewhere on the internet. Uh, but but growing food is really cool, and the reason I'm having this in my head, I just saw a video on YouTube of a guy in South LA, a really poverty-stricken part of town, and he started growing gardens, vegetable gardens all around. He calls himself the gangsta gardener. Or he doesn't call himself that. He's trying to promote this idea of gangsta gardening. So instead of weapons, try to get people into the gardening. And it's a good, I think it's a really good shtick. Because sometimes the way to reach kids, because I've often thought it would be nice, to go to poor neighborhoods and try to, teach, kids mainly, because the kids in really bad parts of town sometimes don't have the same, obviously they don't have the same opportunities that kids in middle class parts of town, or obviously in the really rich parts of town, they have more opportunities. So I was thinking it would be nice to go and just try to, they have big brothers, big sisters programs, so something like that. And but then I think, well, who would necessarily, little kids like me. I've noticed that really young kids like me, like age 5 or till about they start turning into teenagers. Because I basically, with small kids, you just have to be really nice and sweet and don't yell at them, which I learned not to do, because my stepkids, when they were really little, I used to yell at them a lot. I was always trying to get them to go to school or whatever, and there were 4 of them. So, but anyway, they made me realize that it doesn't work. Obviously, they shut down when you yell at them, or when you whatever, when you're not being, you can reach them, and teach them with being sweeter, or trying to be patient and all. So now that I've had that experience, I feel I have more to offer younger kids than I would have in the past, perhaps. But anyway, my point was, but then, like, teens are really the ones that really, I mean, young kids need to feel secure. They need the security of growing up, of being able to go to school and know that they have someone, there that cares about them, and so poverty isn't necessarily as bad. This is my own opinion, obviously, but when you're little, maybe if you have a very loving parent, it's enough, because you feel secure. That's really all you need up until age, a certain age. But then when you start getting into preteens and teen years, no matter how loving your parent is, parent or parents, they need more. They need, I'm not saying they need money, but they need, it takes, they have that saying, it takes a village to raise a child, and it really is true. It really is true. A parent can be an awesome, most wonderful parent in the world, but, or parents, even two parents. But you need, in middle class neighborhoods and in neighborhoods where there's, I don't know, where families are more intact, because it's less common than it used to be. Intact families, even in all socioeconomic levels, it's just not the norm anymore. But if you're a rich family, and okay, the parents get divorced, but you've got the money, so you send the kid to activities, and he can kind of get distracted. He might maybe get into drugs or get into other problems, but he doesn't necessarily get into these violence and but what was I going to say? Anyway, I guess my point is, sometimes to reach teens, you've got to be similar to the teens you're trying to reach, which is what my point about the gentleman who's doing the guerrilla gardening program. He's one of them, in quotes. He was born and raised in South LA. He talks the talk, walks the walk, so, and so, maybe that's better, but yeah, sometimes it really hurts me to see, sometimes kids who you see have potential if they had the opportunities, but they're beaten down by their environment, and they give up young, so then that's it. Once the child has been broken inside, he's seen things, he's witnessed, maybe he's witnessed murders even, or shootings on the street, and they kind of just, they get broken, maybe. So it's it would be good if the idea that the gentleman has, the guerrilla gardening, I forget his name, I'll put a link down below also. If that idea could spread, that you have to save a community, you have to save your own community. And sometimes you just got to be there, which sounds like what the gentleman is doing. And it was a good talk. It was only like 10-minute talk, but it was pretty inspiring. And he said the SHIT word on TED. But see, he can say it. He kind of like, it was natural. He was just being himself, Yeah. So that was interesting. What else? I watched a few YouTube videos. I watched that. I watched another one about, it was also TED. A guy who's saying that our IQs have increased since our grandparents, and the reasons why. That was pretty interesting. It's an old guy with a beard, sneakers. He looked like a college you know how college professors, they'll be real beardy. I'm a little giddy because I'm tired. When I get sleepy, it's almost like I'm drunk sometimes.